Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm checking out a 90mm brushless quadcopter called the ARFUN from gearbest.com. At least I think that's what it is called. Just looking at the box here that it comes in, and it's got AR and then space fun. However, on the website it's ARFUN, so ARFUN, I don't know. Anyways, they always have strange names for these models. But anyway, recently on the channel, I reviewed the Eachine Aurora 100, and for me, this is a direct competitor to that. However, before I get started, I want to state that this model has one major flaw that luckily I have managed to figure out, and that is the 2-cell battery that it comes with. So you can see here, interestingly, the battery here has Aurora written on it. Would you say Aurora or Al on the end of it there? I'm not sure. Now, it's a 300 milliamp battery, but only 25C, so a 2-cell battery. And I put all this together. I went for a quick test fly, and as soon as I put it into acro mode, the thing would just flip out of the sky. In fact, I can probably overlay some footage of it doing that here. And I tried various different things. I tried flying it only in acro mode. I tried turning down the PID loop frequency to 1K, and it was still doing it. And the problem in the end was the C rating of this battery here. So I borrowed the battery from the Eachine Aurora 100 and also the Aurora 90. It's the same battery, so it's a 450 milliamp battery, but 80C, and that issue completely went away. So before you think about getting this model, definitely go and get yourself a spare battery, because this one just isn't up to the job. However, this model is fantastic once you get over that fact. And the Aurora series, I had problems with browning out, which is what I think this flipping problem is here. I think the ESCs aren't getting enough power or current, and it's causing it to reset and flip in the air. And I was seeing some people with the Aurora series having that as well. And I do think that we're asking a lot of these models, because just like the Aurora series, this one has got a on-screen display, FPV camera, all-in-one ESC board. So yeah, we're asking a lot of it, and I do think that potentially we may benefit from an XT30 with these models rather than a JST connector. But anyways, it flies fantastic with this Eachine battery, and apart from those initial issues I was having with this battery, this model is fantastic. So let's check it out. So starting off with the specifications and the motors, these are DYS motors, and they are 1104 7500 kV motors. So again, similar to the Eachine range there. Now you might notice the props. They are 5-blade props, which almost makes it an EDF, but without the D, if you get my drift. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of amps being pulled there with these propellers, and they aren't the same size as the Aurora propellers either. They are slightly shorter, and just look at this, they are just missing here. So if you want to put different propellers on, then you're probably going to have to cut them down, because I don't have any that are the same size for this model. So it says here, look, so we have 193,505 propellers there, so very specific size of the propeller. So these are some spare ones. You're actually given white ones, and the white ones break much easier than these clear ones, so these ones are more durable. So stick these props on if you are getting this model. So it's a 90mm frame, and it's a very nice frame indeed. I'll just take this battery out here, because it is stronger and thicker than any of these other RTF or bind and fly brushless micros. There is no play in that whatsoever, and it's very thick carbon there as well. So we have got all of the screws in the motors as well, and it does look like the frame is slightly recessed as well for the screws, which is nice. We have got this Velcro strap here for the battery, and it does fit my modified Ishin battery here. However, it doesn't have a feed through, so I do find that a little bit tricky to get the battery in tight. Now, according to the specifications, this all-in-one ESC board is 20 amp and flashed with BL Heli S. Now, it's going to be difficult to confirm that because all of the all-in-one ESC boards I know of this size are 10 amp, but apparently these are 20 amp, so technically you could run a 3S on this. However, I'm not sure we will need to because this is such a small and lightweight model anyways, and I can't confirm that these are 20 amp. I'm just going off the specifications there on the GearBest website. And then we've got the Omnibus flight controller with the Betaflight on-screen display there, and this has also got a FrSky D8 receiver as well, but it's not built into the stack, so it's separate, so it doesn't have the telemetry that the Ishin models have, and that's a good thing because that can cause some brownouts as well, I have found. So you can also get it in FlySky as well, and you can also get it without a receiver as well. And of course it will take a DSMX receiver as well because it's sort of all-in-one universal flight controller, so it's an F3 flight controller there. And we have got the same camera as the Ishin model, except it has got a sleeve dipole antenna rather than a cloverleaf, so it's going to be much better in a crash. We're not going to get as good as reception from it, but I tend to find you don't get great reception from these cameras anyway. So it's a 48 channel all-in-one camera and VTX combo. Again, we have the button on the top there to switch between PAL and NTSC, and then at the back we have the different bands and also the different channels on that back switch as well. So yeah, it's a really nice build, this one. As I say, we have a stack up here and then this top plate here which has no play in it whatsoever, and there's also, I don't know if you can see underneath there, we have got a voltage alarm buzzer and lost model alarm underneath there as well, and there's a flashing LED built into that board as well, which is quite nice. So you don't get a lot more stuff with this one. We are given some spare bands, they look like, so I'm not sure what those are for actually, but we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. Maybe that is for going around here to hold the battery in better, I don't know. We've also got 4 cable ties and a spare black rubber band, and as I say, we have those props and that's it. You don't get anything else, don't get a charger or anything like that. However, it's JST, so you can use your hobby grade charger to charge up the battery. So as this is the FrSky version, I'm going to be using my Taranis Plus, and I've already set a model up with it. Now, you don't get any instructions with this at all, but I can show you how it is set up there. So obviously you need to have it in D8 mode and then bind there. So we have, I don't know if you can see it, there's a tiny little bind button. However, I found that I had to take the top off to press it down properly. So yeah, you need to set your Taranis in bind mode here, and then we also have got the bind button there as well. I find the best way to do that is to plug the USB connector in on the side there and then press the button down and then plug the USB into the computer, and then that will power up the receiver on this model. Find that the easiest way. Anyways, once that is done, I will just take you through the different inputs there. So if I go back to the top, so it's TAER for Taranis, and then I've got arming on a 2-position switch there at the back, and then I've got mode on channel 6, 3-position switch there, and then buzz on another auxiliary there, and of course you have to replicate that as well in the mix. It's exactly the same setup as the Aurora series. So it weighs 54 grams without a battery, and then 76 grams with the battery that it comes with, which is pretty useless. And then with the eSheen battery, it weighs 87 grams, so it's still a very lightweight model. You are going to need a way to receive the FPV feed, of course, so I'm going to be using my usual Fat Shark Dominator HD3s with the Fat Shark Diversity Receiver, on-way antenna, and also a patch antenna. Now, I found that because this is a linear antenna on the top here, you could use a dipole antenna to replace the cloverleaf, but honestly I find that there's usually not a great deal of difference because a dipole antenna will break up anyways, so I'm gonna leave it with this one for the flight because I'm gonna be flying in close, and this camera in the past is known for breaking up quite a lot anyways, so I'm not too worried about that. So here we are in the Betaflight configurator. You get this from the Chrome App Store, so it already comes with Betaflight flash to it, so I'm going to stick with the version that it comes with. So you can see there it says COM3. I've got the USB cable plugged into the quadcopter. It powers up the receiver at the same time. I've also got my Taranis turned on as well, so let's connect to it. So let's turn on expert mode, and then if we go into the ports here, very similar to the eSheen model, so we have got a VCP here and then UART1 turned on for the telemetry, and then serial RX on the UART3 there for the receiver. Let's go into configuration, so setup is quad X, and then we don't have any board alignment here. We've got D-Shot 600 up the top here, and motor stop is off. I have turned that off. It was turned on out of the box, and that is so I can have the motor spin up when it arms. And then if I scroll down here, I have got the VBAT on, of course, and this is just all out of the box settings there, so you can see 3.3 volts coming through from the USB there. And then I've got the warning voltage set at 2.9, like I say, it's that out of the box, and then the minimum cell voltage 3.3, so we're just going to have one warning there. So for the receiver, it is set as serial for the FR Sky, and then also S-Bus down here. And again, we have current meter enabled, but I don't think that is doing anything. That's saying 10 amps, which can't be correct, as it is just currently sitting there doing nothing. Now, I did change this to try and help with the brownouts that I was having, or flips, whatever you want to call it, flip of death, some people call it. However, this wasn't the problem, it was the battery in the end. But I did turn the PID loop frequency down to 1 kilohertz there, and the gyro to 2. I did also try turning off the accelerometer as well, but it was just a problem with the battery. So if we come down here, LED strip is enabled, but there's no LED strip on this model. I do wonder actually if it is controlling the light on the buzzer, so we can check that out. Black box and OSD, so of course we have an on-screen display with this one running through Betaflight. So failsafe is set to drop out of the box. PID tuning, now I got really great results out of the Aurora 100 with these PID values, so I'm going to keep that the same. So I've just bumped up the super rate to 0.8 there, and everything else here is standard. Into the receiver there, and it's TAER for Taranis, so everything's working here. And then if we go into the modes, again, just like I had to do with the Aurora, I just had to slide these along slightly because the Taranis values slightly weren't matching up, so I think I had to move these two across. So we've got arming on AUX 1 there, and we've got acro mode with no air mode, then angle mode next, and then we have air mode and acro, and then the beeper I've got on the AUX 3. There's a lost model alarm, and I found that I didn't have to calibrate the ESCs, but you can do that in here if you like. And then on-screen display, I did change a couple of things, so setup exactly the same as the Aurora series. So I turned off the crosshairs, artificial horizon, and sidebars. We just got the fly time, fly mode, craft name, and main battery voltage. There's no RSSI on this receiver. It doesn't have the telemetry like the Aurora series does. And the craft name, again, you get that from configuration down here. I just changed that So let's go into LED strip here. Now there is LED strip set up, but it's set up here for 4 LEDs, and the model doesn't have 4 LEDs, so I'm going to guess that that isn't linked up to anything. So then let's just check out the CLI. I'm going to go into the version here, so you can see there version 3.10, so not the latest version, but a fairly stable version there. And then I'm going to disconnect from this, and then I'm just going to plug in the battery so we can check out what's going on in BL Heli. So I'll just plug that in there. So make sure you disconnect from this, of course, and then I'm going to minimize that, go into BL Heli suite there, just check the clean flight pass-through is selected, check that the right COM port is selected, and then connect to it there, and then press check here, and then OK, and then you can see we have BL Heli S revision 16.5. I'm just going to turn braking on there for all of them, and I'm going to leave everything else the same, so right the setup there, and there we go. Okay, let's go for a takeoff, starting off in angle mode. It's a very, very quiet model, this one. Oh, I can feel it. It's got a lot of power as well. Let's do a punch. And it just disappears into the sky. Amazing. Oh, I cannot move my head fast enough. That is crazy. Definitely have a competitor here for the Aurora. Just disappears. Tiny little thing. It just becomes a speck on the camera. Okay, let's try acro. Does acro fine. Well, to my abilities anyways. It's dusk here, so it's getting a bit dark. I hope it's coming through on the picture. So my eyes are struggling to see it. But we've got nice blue skies, which is something I haven't seen for a good while. The tune feels nice. Pretty much giving it the same tune as the Aurora 100. And line of sight seems to be doing fine. Just look at that. Wow, this is a lot of fun. I kind of did predict that this year was going to be the year of the brushless micro, and I don't think I was wrong. It's hard to keep track of them again. A bit like how last year was the year of the brushed micro. What's next year going to bring? Who knows? The brushless nano. We're not far off with this guy. Just look at that. That is brilliant. I really like this. Okay, once again having too much fun. Let's come in for a landing and do some FPV. So I do think this is actually another Aurora model. It's just that it's only made it to Gear Best as far, because all of the branding on the battery and also the box says Aurora, but the listing on Gear Best website is just the ARFUN there. So with this model, the voltage scaling was more accurate than the other Aurora models out of the box. Of course, you can go and change the voltage scaling in Betaflight, but when I plugged the 2-cell battery into this model, it was showing 8.4 volts, and then that very quickly became 8.2 volts because, as I say, even without the motors going, there's a lot of juice being drawn from this battery. We've got the ESCs powering off it, we've got the flight controller, the on-screen display, we've got the receiver, although no LED with this one, apart from that one that's on the buzzer there, and that only flashes when the voltage alarm is going off there. So I gave this one the same tune as the Aurora 100, and it was absolutely locked in, so I was impressed with how it flew, definitely. And as for the camera, it's the same camera as the other Aurora series that I've reviewed, and it's not a great camera. The picture is soft, and I tend to find that it breaks up a lot, regardless whether you've got the cloverleaf antenna version or the dipole antenna. So the dipole antenna is better in crashes, really, so I think this is an improvement there. I think there is less noise coming from the power system as well, as a little bit, but I think there's less noise than the other quadcopters that I have reviewed as well. So as before, with this on-screen display, you can go in and change some of the settings in Betaflight and the on-screen display without ever having to plug it into the computer. So you put the throttle in the middle, and then you yaw fully to the right and then pitch fully forward, and you can then go and change some of the PIDs if you like. Use the aileron and the yaw and the pitch to navigate around the screen and change some of the settings, and you can also save them from there as well. So the flight time on this battery, so this is obviously the eSheen battery I'm using here, was better than it is on all the other models as well, maybe because it's smaller, which is surprising because of those 5-blade props there. But I was getting a almost 5-minute flight time, and that is not messing around either. That's doing full acro and punch out, so I was pretty impressed with the flight time. Just not the battery that it comes with. You can't fly it with it. Well, I couldn't anyway. Maybe I had a duff battery, maybe one of the cells was dying, but when I plug it into a voltage checker, everything seemed fine there. So yeah, I think you just have to go and change the battery and possibly the connector. I think I might go and do that with my other Aurora models, because I don't think there's enough current getting through to the system, and that's causing the flips of death that people are having. But yeah, I was really enjoying flying this model. I'm flying it in air mode. You can see there it says at the bottom there, so of course we also have the voltage there in the left, and also the model name underneath there. And then the flight time, look at that, you know, we're coming up to 4 minutes here almost. And I was really impressed with these 5-bladed props. I thought they were going to be too much. I think if you stuck a 5-blade on a proper mini quad, then you would lose efficiency and power at some point, but not with this. It is a really nice propeller and durable. The red ones, that is. The white ones break instantly. So yeah, really impressed with those. Just that I don't think you could fly this model indoors, but it's not designed for indoors. Maybe someone will make some prop protectors for it, I don't know, but I was really enjoying flying it. Now, I did fly it to the end, to the point where the screen went off because there's no more power, so I'll leave it there. I'll put a link in the description if you want to get one. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.